welcome. I'm really happy and excited to have this presentation with you. We're going to go through different AI tools to get inspiration and get creative with Lens Studio. So today's program, I'm going to talk a little bit of who I am and what I do. Then I'm going to take you through all of the AI tools I'm using. I will not go through all of the AI tools you can find out there because it's currently a huge revolution and it's evolving very fast. So just like a few of them that I use on a daily basis. Then I will show you the different projects that we'll work on together. We will work on 3 templates that are built in Lens Studio. One is segmentation, the other one is the try on. So you will have like a different clothes, like there's a jacket, a t-shirt, trousers, like a full outfit, and then upper garment, which is more like an animation on a t-shirt. And they're all beginner friendly. So hello, my name is Anne Horel. I'm a multi-award-winning artist living in Paris. I'm also a director represented by Partisan, and I've recently been represented by a Julie Gareda gallery. I have a solo show at the end of the year. If you ever want to come, you can always join. I'm a GIF artist. I've been a featured artist on Giphy since 2015, and I've been doing AR since 2019 on various platforms. Cat mom of 2 beautiful cats, and I speak fluent emoji. So I have a background in philosophy, and I graduated in fine art in 2011. I work with a lot of brands and different kind of fields. I made some documentaries, music videos. I work with multiple clients, and my work has been exhibited in a bunch of galleries, fair, museums around the world. And I've talked in different festivals like the AWE or Reality Check in the Netherlands. I've been a performer, a TV anchor at Canal+, radio host, instructor, consultant, tarot reader, cat mom. I'm like a bunch of things. And my inspiration oscillates between pop culture, internet culture, meme culture, art history, sociology, politics, everything that is inherent in our world. So before I started using AI, which is pretty recent, I started last year. I've been doing animation mostly, hence the Giphy featured artist since 2015. And I've been working on social media as a medium since 2008. I started with MySpace, and I had like a profile for my cat at the time. So my cat was having friends all over the world, and I started to think, hey, this is weird and creative and fun at the same time. And I started using all of the social media as a creative platform. And then Vine came up, and Vine was kind of like the highlight of my social media exploration, and then it disappeared, as you all know. Rest in peace, Vine. It was a great platform, and I had like a lot of following, and like it disappeared instantly. So it's just like a reminder that social media fame is fake and can disappear in a second. So stay humble. And yeah, a bunch of recognitions, which is always a nice feeling when you're an artist, because you're a sensitive being. So having like MTV saying that I'm the most creative person to follow on Snapchat was a kind of like a highlight. And then I got a bunch of awards in art and AR. So to dive into my practice, so I come from collage. I do a lot of collage. I've always done collage with like physical objects, cutting catalogs and magazines and everything, and then it became fully digital at some point. So in 2019 I was doing this kind of aesthetics of collage, and then I discovered that AR was an accessible tool to create AR filters, and I got really excited and I made a bunch. Some of them are these ones, so it's always like weird and wacky, and I don't really look for something that is like an experience or something. I'm more intuitive in my practice, and that's also what I want to focus on this workshop, is that creativity is something that is intuitive, and you need to feel free to like use everything as you wish and as you feel it. And it's the best way to unleash your creativity in a fun way. So I'm going to go through all of the AI tools I'm using in my practice. This is an example of a collage I made combining different tools. I'm going to go through that a little bit later. But this is an example of one image. The David Bowie image was made with a Wombo, and then I expanded it with the new generative fill tool on Photoshop. And then I added more objects with the lasso and the generative fill on Photoshop. All of the different tools are multiple use cases and aesthetics. And so I'm going to go through the list of ideation, image generation, video generation, and 3D. So this is all of the tools I'm going to show you today. Everybody knows ChatGPT, I guess. I don't know if there is anyone in the room who never heard of ChatGPT, but so it's a great tool to find inspiration and to go through like weird ideas. Like I like to see AI as a conversation with the machine. So whenever you're prompting something with like image generating or video generating or even starting a conversation with a ChatGPT, I always think that the machine is alive, and it's like a conversation I'm having with like an assistant or someone that I will treat like as an equal. So it's a good way to just like start a conversation with ChatGPT if you are looking for ideas or getting out of the box from your own head, and just like give me ideas for a Snapchat filter. So like I ask creating a Snapchat filter using AI generated textures. Like that's the answer he gave me. I asked for what kind of filters I could make with AI generated textures on Lens Studio, and then also he's telling me that it's a great idea. He's like, here's a few ideas to consider. So he gave me like he, she, it, they, I don't know, a few ideas that are fun, and then you can pick any idea or just like make all of them. But yeah, I like ChatGPT for that, and also finding names. Like if you're out of ideas to find names for a filter or whatever. I mean, there's always a good question to ask to ChatGPT. So that's it for ideation, and we're going to talk about image generation. So just as an introduction, it's a very fast evolving tools. So this is like just a slide to show you my first experimentation with DALL-E. The first line, the cats and the two masks are DALL-E at the beginning, and it's still the same model that they're using. But they were having a beta program using like a new model. They stopped it, so now they're currently updating it. So it should be live like in a few months, hopefully. And then the second line is Midjourney, the very first version of Midjourney. So that was last year, and this is what I get now. With the first line is DALL-E, and the second line is what I have with the last version of Midjourney. So between the two, like you can tell that the aesthetics is not the same. Also, my way of prompting has changed as well. Again, like see the prompt as a conversation. It's always evolving and it's a work in progress, just like the platforms. So DALL-E is a text-to-image AI. Very same concept. You have, when you go on DALL-E, you have a line that says start with a detailed description, and then you just write what is called a prompt. I like to say that prompt is also a kind of poetry. Like it's a way to give your vision words. It's like thinking in reverse. Like when you make images, like before AI, when I was making images, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to put two eyes and then a butterfly and then a spider and then a fern or whatever. Now it's like now I'm doing that. I'm asking AI like make a face with two eyes and like a third eye on the top of the head, and then ferns coming out of the mouth, and then a spider on top of it. It's just like thinking ahead of your vision. So it's another way of creating. And I find it really interesting. And all of the different tools have different aesthetics. So DALL-E is kind of like rough for now with the model that they have. Like to give you an example, here is a malachite texture I generated. So malachite is gemstones. It's like a stone, a healing stone, and it's not bad. Like I like what I had with the. I like the result of that. So with this output, I can use this to put it on anything on AR. Like if I want to make like a pattern on a shirt or something, I can use this texture and put it on a shirt. And that's what we will see in the second part of the workshop. There's another tool that is interesting on DALL-E. It's called outpainting. So this is an example with the image of Miley Cyrus. Like I made like one first image on Photoshop, and then you import it in DALL-E, and then you can expand the image pixel after pixel, and then you can use the eraser and then create more graphic designs around it. And you can go big. Like there is, if you go from like one this like little Miley Cyrus, you can go like, you can make like a fresque. If you want to make the Sistine Chapel, you can do it if you want to. And then I like combining tools and making animation. So I took all of the little assets that I have, and then I put it in Photoshop and made animation. The second one that is well known is Midjourney. It's on Discord. It sounds a little bit more complicated, but it's once you're in it, it's very easy to use, and you command in the chat line, command imagine, and then you write your prompt. And the way you are prompting in Midjourney, there is a different output, so you prompt differently depending on the platforms as well. And there is no good way to learn than just experimenting. Like I cannot give you a recipe because the way you're going to prompt is going to be different from mine and his and hers and whoever. And there are a few comments that are interesting. So imagine is kind of like the base, and then as it's on a chat page on Discord, you can also see what people are prompting and get inspiration from what people are prompting. There are tons of tutorials on YouTube. Like I really encourage you to go and like geek for like an hour or two, and you will find a lot of inspiration and information. Somehow like there is like the settings command also that is interesting. And you can use the different models that exist since the beginning. So you can choose between the last one, the latest one, or use like the other models. So you have here differences. Like this is the last model, the pizza still nature. And this is the previous model, and this is the first model. So it's not, you can tell that it's different. Like it's not as sharp as the latest one, because they are improving the model to make it more sharp and more realistic. They are fixing a lot of things. Like at first we had like 6 or like 8 fingers on a hand, or like they were having like problems to understand like how to make a physical body actually look like a physical body. But they are fixing that like model after model. So it's also interesting to play around this. And also I find it interesting to play with the non-normative presets. Like it's fun to have human body with like 8 fingers. Like why not? And it's part of the aesthetics. And I think it's also part of how we're building art history around this tool as well. So even if it's not perfect, it's part of history, and it's part of the game, and it's part of the fun. And then you have a bunch of different settings you can play around. The remix mode is really cool because it means that when you make a variation, so once you have an output, you can make variation. If you have one image that you really like let's say, I really like this pizza image, I'm going to pick this image and have it like expand, so it will be like a good quality. And then I can make variation of this image, and the robot is going to make iteration of this image. And the remix mode button allows you to make little changes in the prompt and see how, if you change like one word or two, or the order of the words, or like I also encourage you to use, want to do photography, like use like the lenses, the lighting, the point of view, like be as precise as you can, because the AI is going to take all of the freedom that you give it. So the more precise you are, the more precise the result is going to be. But also you have to let go of the output, like the machine is going to take over the result. And it's also part of the game that you have an idea in your mind and the machine is going to make something a little bit different. But I find it interesting because, again, it's like having an assistant, having an idea inspired by your initial idea, but having something slightly different. And that's what I find the most interesting in AI. It's like it's helping you to go further in your creativity and your ideas. And one function I really, really like in Midjourney is called describe. So you add the command describe, and then you add one image, whatever, like a piece of art. Like I made this input with an image I generated with another AI. It's called Kyber. I will talk about it a little bit later. And then it gives me 4 ideas for prompts. And then you can imagine them all. So this is the output I got from this. Like they are so different, and they are like completely different from the original image. But then I can use what I have from the prompt and try stuff and erase some stuff, keep some stuff. Like I said, I come from collage, and this is like exactly an exercise of collage, but with writing. So I really, really encourage to use this to understand how you can prompt and understand how you can get images a little bit different from your initial idea. And it's if you come from like a very strong artistic background, you can use your own images and then see what Midjourney is going to give you. And also another tip that I really encourage you to use on Midjourney is once you have you go on your Midjourney on your browser, not on Discord. You go on your browser and you open your homepage and you have all of your output. And once you click on your output, you have Explore Related that appears, and it gives you all of the images that were made on Discord, on Midjourney by other people. Sometimes you have the prompts, sometimes you don't, because you can have like a subscription that hides your prompts. I find it smart because it's always annoying to have someone copying your exact prompts that you spend hours to find, and but it's part of the game, it's the internet. So it's always interesting to see what other people are doing and what other prompts are kind of like similar to your image. So yeah, I really encourage you to do that as well. Another one that I really like, it's called Leonardo AI. It's another aesthetics as well. There are so many settings you can see on the left corner. There are so many settings. There is a Leonardo diffusion style that is like super strong, and it gives you like this kind of like very crisp and very, I don't know, angular faces, and it's very distinctive to Leonardo. I think it's interesting to like try the same prompts in different AIs. So it's like the exact same prompt, but you will have very different outputs in other model. So to give you an idea, this is like the same prompt I used in Discord to get on Midjourney, and I used it, and this is Leonardo. And then another thing that I really like is combining with the new Photoshop generative fill. So basically you put your image and then you expand the framing, and then it automatically expands your image. And it's great to just see what is going on. And if you want a specific background, like you can put nothing in the generative fill, or you can just like I want a fountain and a mountain, and you can be precise, or you can leave the machine fill the blanks, which I usually do. I like letting the machine fill the blanks, especially for these ones, because they are like creatures, and I like to see how they're going to fill the body. So the initial image is the square of the, like it's this, and then it was filled by Photoshop like at the bottom. And this is another example of generative fill, but with Midjourney outputs. And what I meant with the prompt are the same and the output are different. This is, I use the same prompt for these and for these. So it's like very similar, but also completely different. And also, as I was saying with the David Bowie image before, you can also expand with the framing and then use the lasso tool and then add more details and add more elements. And as a collage artist, it's perfect. I don't need to find images and to cut them out. I just like delimitate where I want the hibiscus to be, and then just like type hibiscus, and it just like put the hibiscus, and then you can iterate as much as you want. It's 3 images each time, but then you can keep going. So this was the original image, but I added the eyes and I added every other elements like the aloe vera, the bee, the tiger, and also it's taking the original image as a reference. So if your image is weird as like a form of aesthetic, it's going to be inspired by this, which is really cool. Another one that I really, really like and I use all the time is called Wombo AI. It's an app, but it's also, you can also use it on Discord. The app is really cool because you can pick an art style. That's something I didn't mention on the prompting, but obviously if you want your aesthetics to be inspired by an artist, which is the big subject about AI, like, yeah, it's copying artists and everything. It's more complicated than that. But then you can have styles that are like sci-fi or like realistic. And Wombo is great for that because the presets are already there. You just prompt anything and then you have different sizes, which is really cool as well. So it's already preset. You only need to pick the one you like. And then the output is, so this is a malachite image, the same that I did in DALL-E, but in Wombo, so it's slightly different, but it's still a little bit of the same. And then it gives you 4 output, and then you pick the one that you like, and it's you can export it in a good quality. The quality is really good. And again, combining tools. So the first image is a texture I made with Wombo, and then I put it in Photoshop and then added some assets that I had in PNG and then put it in Premiere and added more animation on top of it and then edited it with more GIFs on top of it. You can do anything with AI, like you can use it as an output as itself, like the image is the output and that's the result you're looking for, but it can be also just a tiny bit of the image that you generated and take it and put it in another context and like build on this. Video, which is really cool as well. This is an example of what I made with a Runway. So Runway is a very complex and complete tool. So it's not complex, it's easy to use, but there are so many things you can do. It's basically an editing machine on a website. Like it's really easy. There are a few tools that I use a lot. The video to videos. So you can put a video and have the output will be the same video but with a texture or something that you put on top of it. You can add a text, like you can prompt, like let's say I want this video but I want this to be like blurry with butterflies and cats, why not, and pizza. And so you can be creative with the text or just adding an image on top of it and it would just like incorporate the image into the video. And then you have text to video, which is really good. So it's the same concept. Your input is an image and then either you don't say anything and you let the robot make it in motion, or you add a prompt and you say, I want this to be that and to be that. To me, it's still a bit sketchy and there are, you need to find your way around, but it's fun to use. And then you have all of the other like classic tool, like text to image, image to image, which is exactly the same thing with the video, like the same idea that your input is an image, and then either you put some text or you put some image to get inspired. It's your choice. There is also, you can train your own AI, so you can, there is also this option. And then there are a bunch of other tools that I'm not showing here, but it's very, like, there is a lot of things to do. So this is an example of the kind of animation I showed you earlier, but for Jared Leto and Pedro Pascal, I put them in a runway, and then I did one of the creatures I showed you earlier as an input, and it made this kind of like creature, like macro thing. And then on Pedro Pascal there is a preset that is like claymation, so it just like transformed my animation as if it was made in clay. And then Kyber is another 2D to video AI. I haven't explored it that much for now, but that's the next one I'm going to explore. But it's basically the same concept. And at the bottom, the purple creature is the input was one of the creature, and I just like let the AI just like make it in motion. One other trick is to make stop motion animation. So mostly I use it with Wombo. So with Wombo you have 4 outputs, and it's easier to see how to animate because you can just like go through the different images and see which one is matching the previous one. So you can basically make animation like in real life, but you can do it with any AI. Like once you have your output, you can just like import all of the output and then animate them in any software. Like I use Photoshop for that, so I had like maybe like 300 images, and then I put them in Photoshop and then animated them. 3D is really cool. There is this tool called Kaidim. It's very expensive. It's not perfect, but it's interesting. And I like it too because I'm not a 3D artist, and it's kind of overwhelming as a creative to feel the urge to learn all of the tools because it's a lot. So it's cool also to have AI tools to just like do the work you're not willing to learn because you don't have the space in your head to just learn it. And it's good to have this again as a base, and then you can modify and then learn your way around, but just like having the assets already made I find it very convenient and useful to learn. So again, it's not free, it's not perfect, but I find it interesting. So basically the input was one of these creature, and then it takes a little bit of time, it depends, and then you have it. And then they added one tool that is interesting is automatic texturing. So basically the output is just the model, the 3D model, and you have like 3 different possibilities. Either it's like very basic, a little bit more complex, and like high quality. Of course the high quality is more custom, more credits. And then you can use the automatic texturing, and then it just like automatically put your input on the 3D model, which is really convenient. Again, not perfect, don't expect like perfection of this, but convenient. So this is an example of a workflow from like a DALL-E image to a 3D model made with Kaidim, and then I put it in as a mask on Lens Studio. Here is another example of one input. I put this example to show you how not perfect it is. Like you can tell the texture is not really there, like it doesn't really understand the thing, but I like it. I like the fact that it's like not perfect. And then in Lens Studio, I use it on the Eiffel Tower, and then I added a bunch of elements that are already in Lens Studio because there are so many elements in the Lens Studio you can use to just like be creative. There is another cool tool for 3D. It's called CSM. It's free, which is great. It takes a long time to get your model. It's even less perfect, but again, interesting to let go of like the expectation of what you want this to be like absolutely like that, and then having something that is kind of an interpretation of it. Like, I don't see this in this, but I like the fact that it's slightly different, and I don't know, I can just like play around it. Same for this one, like I don't see the relation with like what, like, is there flowers? Like, there is no flowers here, like, but again, why not? And then of course, I'm sure a lot of you here know Mixamo, which is an Adobe program that allows you to auto-rig and animate your 3D characters. So convenient, super easy for someone who doesn't know 3D and doesn't want to learn how to rig or whatever. You just put your character that is either in A pose or T pose, and then you have so many different kind of animation, like dancing, walking, different kind of movements, free, again, wonderful. And these are examples of these, what I made with some is DALL-E and Kaedim, and then Lens Studio. The Wednesday one is one I made with DALL-E first, and then Kaedim, and then Mixamo. And then the Totoro and Pikachu are Sketchfab models, and then I put them in Mixamo and then in Lens Studio. Just also to encourage you to explore. It doesn't require a lot of knowledge in technology, and it doesn't require a lot of time as well. It's just like finding models, slightly modify them, be creative around the model, and then put it out there. Like lately I've been more into physical objects. So it's also just to tell you that AI can be used as a digital thing, but it can also be used in the physical realm. So I've been making like a lot of t-shirts like this one that you can also activate in AR if you want to. I use them as input for idea for ceramics. I made a solo show in March, and at the opening we had a nail artist, and she was like painting the creatures on people's nails. It was awesome. It was so cool. And then this is an example of laser engraving in acrylic, 3D printing, and then ceramic tiles. So, and this is just an example of what you can do with that, what I've done with that, but the sky is the limit. And then I want to finish with this, which is a very cool resource. You can flash this, it will give you the link to it, it will open the page. It's a list of AI tools, and it's great. It's very well organized, and then you can just like look around and, you know, experiment. Some are free, some are not, and there is everything. There is 3D, there is also music, voice, and everything. Like, it's such a great resource. So yeah. Tips and tricks: be patient and persistent. Experiment, like never stop experiment. Watch a lot of tutorials. There are so many tutorials, and it's like the best way to learn digital stuff. If you want something very specific in your output, be specific in the prompt, and then you can go as wild as you want on lens details, POV, the kind of software render you want, especially if you want to have an output that is like 3D character. Just tell which kind of 3D render you want. There is no celebrity yet on DALL-E possible. It's possible on Midjourney, but it's kind of sketchy. On Wombo, it's great for celebrities. And yeah, keep generating until you get what you want. Use the variation, as I was saying earlier, to get some other outputs. Play with the settings in Midjourney, and especially the describe one is really, really cool. If you see any beta program, just sign in and try. It's always nice to try new stuff, and also find your own prompt language, so you can have your own creative conversation with the machine.